Right.
We are here today in a peaceful protest, asking that Representative Guthrie make a public statement in support of Ernesto and intervene on his behalf. And we would like for you to get in touch with Representative Guthrie and see if we can make that happen.
Okay, all right.
We'll wait out here while you check.
No. I've said to you on the phone, this is a legal proceeding, an active case right now between Ernesto and the authorities that have detained him, okay? Active legal case. Members of Congress do not operate in legal matters. They do not engage. You do not want influence from political leaders of people holding high office to engage in any outcome on any judicial matter.
Oh yeah, we do.
No, you don't.
Oh yeah, we do.
Well, in the House, and okay, you have a minority opinion in the U.S. House of
Representatives.
Not
Not a
in this
minority
room.
opinion.
The U.S. House of Representatives has deemed that as a matter that you do not engage in. Okay, all right. So we are not for those
We would like to hear from
reasons.
Guthrie.
I know. I've heard your request, and as soon as there's an opportunity, then I'll be reaching back out to you. There isn't one.
There hasn't been since February.
Yeah.
And he's had a number of recesses, and we've made requests every way I know how, including at DC.
I'm familiar with those facts. So I'm just telling you, the Ernesto thing is going to be resolved through the judicial process. It's not going to be resolved by the intervention of a legislator involving in that matter. If you want to talk about the other matter you talked about, which was the status of legislation and the one big beautiful bill, reconciliation bill, whatever you want to call it, then that's a conversation that could be had, but there won't be on the Ernesto matter.
Okay.
We're following that closely because
here's
members
my
of Congress.
question.
Here's what I told the other folks. I'm telling the other folks what I told you on the phone there about the Ernesto matter. Members of Congress have oversight over federal agencies, DOJ being one of those. So we're following the matter with interest, but we are not going to engage in a particular legal matter with a particular case like this.
Okay.
So that's
When I read your constituent services, it appears that is part of the constituent services. Do you consider Ernesto a constituent?
Now, I'm not going to play that game with you. I'm telling you what our position is on the Ernesto thing. You're not going to get into that. We're not going to have that conversation about.
We're not having any conversations.
Well, we're not going to have that conversation. We're following this matter closely.
We're not going to have the conversation
Ernesto.
about him being a constituent. Is that what you're saying?
I know where you're going with your line of questioning. Is what I'm saying to you. Okay. So we're not going to go down that line. I've told you what I'm telling you about the Ernesto matter. We made this case when people have called. And we care about this young man, as we would with any constituent. That's why we do constituent services.
Have you done any constituent services for him?
Because he is actively involved in a legal matter. This is what I've said to you
So
before in the phone call and the
constituents-
earlier part of this conversation we're having now. So he is actively in a legal matter. His matter is going to be resolved through the judicial process, not through an advocacy campaign. Okay?
But I think many of your constituent cases are involved in a legal matter. You know, whether it be with Social Security, whether it be with, whatever. But those are all legal processes and legal matters. For example, someone who has not qualified for
That's an administrative matter. That's not a case where somebody's guilt or innocence is a matter of the courts.
Well, the bond for
hearing.
hearing is not a guilt or innocence.
So here's what I've got for you, Kathy, is if you'd like to express your thoughts in writing here, I'll be glad to send this up to the congressman for his review. And otherwise, we're closing for the day. We're done in just a few minutes here. So if you'd like to take that, that's the only option I have for you at this time.
Well, I gave you in writing
Right.
what we're asking
Yeah,
for.
so I'll take that. If you got anything else to cover, then here's your opportunity.
I'm very concerned that there's a refusal to even discuss this because Ernesto is a young man who lives in Bowling Green, who has no criminal background.
I can't say anything more than what I've already said.
So you're just shutting it down?
Because I've told you that we do not engage in active judicial matters and you seem to have, you're giving me the look that you don't understand that, and you can't. So I don't know what anything more than I can say.
I don't understand that,
because
I believe
you're
you
welcome
do.
to go online to look at the House of Ethics, House of Representative Ethics, and you can read for this, what we've known for the past 16 years, that you do not engage in legal matters. And that
What about Senator Chris Van Hollen going to El Salvador for one of his
Guthrie
constituents?
office will not speak on behalf of any other member of Congress. That's between them. If you feel like he set a precedence, that's a matter for him. It doesn't change what's in the text of the House Ethics Committee's rules.
Well, Representative Guthrie's on recess. He's around. We'd like for you to call him and ask for a response to this statement.
He's aware of the interest.
Well, we're going to wait for a response.
All right, very
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Okay,
Take
you
care.
too.
Do you think there's any chance that Mr. Guthrie will ever develop a conscience so that he can tell the difference between right and wrong?
You've been insulted. We're going to end this conversation now.
So I was just wondering.
The door. He locked the door. Okay, let's talk about this.
Oh, no.
Don't sit right in front of him. Move away from. Yeah. So, we have visited this office, how many times do y'all think? At least once a month and sometimes more often. And each time we're met with the same resistance from Mark Lord, who is the director of this office, and we get nowhere. You know, in the beginning, he didn't even take our names or write notes about what we were talking about, which concerns me. And then we requested a town hall, and we sent a letter to Representative Guthrie. We delivered the letter here and mailed it to his office in DC, offering to set up a venue, take care of the details, and asking what date would be convenient for him. You know, we didn't try to set a date and say, be here then. We asked him for a date so that he could, you know, it would be convenient to him. We received no response, absolutely no response. We've been calling daily. After the town hall, where he didn't show up, we scheduled one when he wouldn't give us a date, and there was a chicken in his seat. But after the town hall, we continued to visit, and we even held a town hall last week, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. On June 7th, we had a town hall Wyatt, if you want to sit down, have a seat. Gary may steal it from you later.
I was kind of like,
He'll get it when he's ready.
To somebody else.
Once I'm down,
We had, scoot back.
I'm autistic. I love me some floor time.
We had a town hall June 7th with former representative, U.S. Representative John Yarmouth, who was really outstanding. It was nice to hear someone, even though he's a former congressman, this is his first term out. So he's very familiar with all that's going on, and it was nice to hear from someone that wanted to talk to us and took questions, you know, just amazing. Those in this district haven't been able to do that for quite a while. And you know, used to, we could get in touch with Brett Guthrie, and he would allow us to come in a small group or, you know, a pair. Prior to the inauguration, I never had any difficulty. Did anyone visit Brett Guthrie before the inauguration. Michael, you and I came in like 2017 and had a meeting with him. And
He had one more after that.
and we've had several. I've met with him in DC before when I was there with Poor People's Campaign. Mary, did you meet with him?
No, I was acting as a
Okay.
peacekeeper.
And I always felt he was responsive. I know when we went to witness at the border in 2019, he was responsive. We had a conversation about that. It didn't change his vote, but at least he would talk to us. You know, that was something. But it really bothers me that our representative, just the word representative, he represents us, will not talk to us. And I looked up the constituent services, and he does offer constituent services for immigration.
To kind of talk about, and if anybody else has any higher expertise on this, then you can correct me. But so essentially, what was his name?
Mark Lord.
Mark Lord. Essentially, what Mr. Lord was saying was that those constituent services would apply to someone who is seeking immigration status. So a constituent who is not involved in a legal proceeding. What he was bringing up was the fact that Ernesto is involved in a legal proceeding, that legal proceeding being court. He's being deported. So essentially, the main question would be, and this is what Mr. Lord was dodging, just as I was paying attention, this is what Mr. Lord was dodging, was whether the question of whether Ernesto was a citizen with full rights of a citizen with no criminal record prior to being detained by immigration control.
And
By
Ernesto
ICE.
is not a citizen, but he can legally reside here. He has the special juvenile status, and he has deferred status, which means that none of this should have happened to begin with.
So,
you know?
Is this under the umbrella of DACA?
No, this
CA?
is deferred status, which is a little different.
Okay, because I was about to say that the executive branch or the administration has pretty much nullified every gray area that has been created over the past 10 years for
Well,
immigration.
I'm glad you brought that up, because there have been some rumors that the special juvenile status and
All right, folks, it's time to go. This is past closing time, and so we're gonna lock these doors, so you need to step on out. This is private property that's owned by a common set of owners that have these properties here. This is not public space for you to be able to occupy. You can take your demonstration and go out there to the street, the public streets on the sidewalk out there. Otherwise, we'll have landlords and we'll soon have police if you don't want to be cooperative. Your choice. Now's the time.
we're gonna stay. We're hoping to hear from Brett.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So, yeah. All right.
Does he believe that Ernesto has legal status?
We've talked about it last time.
No, you never said.
It's strange that they won't talk about Ernesto, you know? It's like hands off.
So what we need to know
Racism.
is it's a question that involves Ernesto. It's a question that involves a lot of Kentucky constituents, a lot of Representative Guthrie's constituents, and that is that we need to know whether Brett Guthrie is willing to support the citizenship and willing to back citizenship and residency when it comes into question by other departments within the federal government.
Or status, even, status if they're here
Because that's the question that Ernesto is facing. That's the question that a lot of Representative Guthrie's constituents are facing is, will Representative Guthrie recognize when a citizen is a citizen? Will Representative Guthrie, as a legislator, acknowledge the citizenship?
But he's not a citizen.
Residency as well.
Residency.
Yeah, because these are all
Does
legal.
Representative Guthrie represent all the people in his district? Children can't vote. There's lots of people in the district that can't or don't vote, but does he represent everyone? One of the other things that he said that really bothered me is they keep talking about there's a mandate for this. Well, they use that because Trump won the election and saying that there's a mandate to deport people. Well, Trump didn't even get a majority, He
These are
won
all
the
things.
election.
These are all things that Representative Guthrie. So being here, the questions that need to be asked of Representative Guthrie are the questions of whether Representative Guthrie, as a legislator, is willing to represent all of his constituents,
Exactly.
whether of all statuses, all statuses, whether they are refugees, because we have tons and tons of refugees in this city, whether they are juvenile residents, whether they are full blood-born citizens, because if Representative Guthrie is willing to allow the constituents' residency and legal statuses to come into question, then the very essence of legal status becomes null. There is no such thing as legal status. Is that what Representative Guthrie wants for his district? That legal immigration becomes impossible by default.
Right. And, due process is due process due to everyone. I believe that's what our Constitution says.
Because he's right, like Mr. Lord's right. Like in one way, Mr. Lord is right, because we don't want political power to be able to be enforced in judicial matters. But the problem is that this is a patently illegal judicial proceeding.
Yes.
This judicial proceeding is being done without acknowledgement of any of the common rights of both citizens and residents.
Mm-hmm.
And really they're going after the lowest common denominator, in the state and in the country. That's the low-hanging fruit to go after. Who's going to be next? Is it going to be one of us? Is it going to be another, citizen group that they deem as not accepted as a member of our society? It's like, who's the next scapegoat that's picked?
Yeah.
Well, and Mark Lord said they oversee the federal agencies. Well, ICE is the federal agency and Homeland Security that's causing these problems, and clearly there's not been effective oversight.
No oversight.
That they are allowed, that they're just running roughshod over the community.
And over the representatives. What does Brett
Yes.
Guthrie have to say about the fact that he's being stepped over by these federal agencies who are not paying any respect to district, local, or state officials?
Can I interrupt just a second on account of the fact that there may be people here to, take us away? I think I heard from you that Jeannie Smith was our advocate outside of here, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. And who would know to get a hold of Jeannie Smith if something happens?
I do.
Okay. Good. Manny wants to know.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. I thought you were trying to say it to FaceTime.
Yeah, I just want to
Okay.
find out.
So our plan,
You have a number
if
for
I'm
me?
understanding right, our walk in, we're gonna cooperate. Is that the plan,
Yes.
that we're gonna cooperate?
Yes, today, in respect for the Bowling Green Police Department, who has a funeral for one of their own today, we will do that, and then we'll be back, and we'll up the ante if we need to get Brett's attention. That's what we're trying to do. Gary wants to say something.
Yeah, well, he talked about the legal thing, and that's what he talked about. I understand that Ernesto had the paperwork to show his status. There was no warrant, no indictment for this young man, so legal proceedings were not followed to get him in custody.
Right.
That's where he can intervene.
Yeah.
You follow the law, you follow
That's
due
oversight
process.
of the agency.
Yes.
Thank you, and that question can be asked by anyone, why was the law not followed in seizing this young man, taking him out of his home?
You're a district state legislator. Yeah.
So if you follow that to its inevitable conclusion, there shouldn't be any kind of proceeding held in Louisiana or wherever else they might want to hold something, because there was no reason to seize him in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, they kept saying legal proceedings, but they're all illegal proceedings.
Really?
So, like, if all you have to
It
do
was
to
a legal action that got him involved in a legal proceeding.
if all you have to do to no longer be a constituent worthy of protection and care is to be kidnapped, well,
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
that sounds like you can kidnap anybody arbitrarily, depend on how happy you are with them, and then claim, oh, well, I can't protect them anymore.
Yeah.
They're in a legal proceeding. Oh.
Representative Brett Guthrie
Okay, there we go.
making of, like, what constitutes a citizen, what constitutes a constituent. And these are the things that Mr. Lord was dodging, was like what, in Brett Guthrie's opinion, constitutes someone who is a citizen, someone who's a resident, someone who is a constituent, and under what circumstances has the law been broken in the detaining of these people?
Right.
If Fred
And-
Guthrie wanted to do something, he could subpoena the guy who runs ICE and demand an explanation for this. That's just good oversight. That's not
Yeah.
interfering.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could do that today.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's,
Right. How many other people are in this,
Right.
gone down this rabbit hole?
For every Ernesto, there are hundreds, I don't know, there may be thousands. But Ernesto is just one that we know of here, because people are afraid to talk. People in the immigrant community are scared to death. They try not to go out in the open any more than they have to. It's unbelievable. I know at our community grocery store, free grocery store, suddenly our numbers have dropped dramatically. And Feeding America, the same thing, because they are afraid that they will be trapped there by ICE. And that's just crazy. But Ernesto is one of, we don't know how many. And I know that on the day Ernesto was picked up, there were a number of others that were picked up and hauled to Grayson County, and then moved from there to other places. But my heart keeps saying, Ernesto's a kid. Ernesto is a kid who is being traumatized. And, Mark Lord, and I assume he speaks for Brett Guthrie because Brett hasn't said differently, does not seem concerned at all about the trauma that's being inflicted on this kid. And I'm just appalled. That he has no heart for a child of 18, just turned 18, with no real world experience. I mean, he's been in high school till a month ago, being just snatched up and thrown in. I would invite Brett Guthrie to have a tour of the detention centers and allow one or two of us to go along with him, because I don't think he's probably familiar with what the reality is of these settings. I was told in Grayson County, in the women's section,
Gladys.
that they have like 20 women in one small area or cell and one mattress. They don't have access to feminine hygiene products. I mean, it's horrendous. So he needs
To do is I expect every law enforcement agency of the federal government to follow due process. And we all know what he's saying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They
That's,
sure will.
that's all that anybody is asking for is for him to. You're a public servant.
Just so, okay, we're back on. The live is back on.
David
So,
blocked. You got it?
yes, it is connected now. Although, if you have a hotspot that I can connect to for stability, that would be great. This one,
I
perhaps, it
just
seems
think
new.
how this
No.
would be for any other citizen.
Yeah.
Police show up at your door and say,
Hey,
we believe you killed somebody.
well,
It's
Mark
like this
came out
evening.
and told us that they had
The
no
iPhone
empty.
no
LTD.
responsibility in this.
Slow, but we are back
Yes,
up and running.
yes.
Went to the, you figured it out? I know who turned to you.
No.
I mean, that all passed me by.
Are you videoing?
Yes, it's
I'm
back
gonna-
on now.
I'm sorry, I'm talking to somebody else. I'm gonna tell you the statement from Brett Guthrie.
Oh, okay.
The reporter out here.
In line with the House Committee on Ethics recommendations, Congressman Guthrie's office has a long-standing policy of not interfering with individuals' ongoing judicial proceedings. That's what Mark said. Well, we have, yes, we have asked that they get the statement to Brett Guthrie and that we get a response. So, we'll just wait. I will. You'll probably see something in a little bit. Okay. Okay, bye. So, Brad Guthrie's statement is that they have no role in this, in other words, you know.
Was that the representative or was that?
The representative made that statement to someone else. That was his official statement. So.
And he made that like on the radio or
To media.
to media. Okay.
So.
All right. Well,
Probably the same statement to all of them. So, but I don't know, should I unlock the door and let the media in?
no. I wouldn't unlock the door
Okay.
because
We can't, but you could probably call the office because did he
Call the
actually
office and
leave
ask them.
and just ask if it's okay? Yeah. We're just
we just
afraid
don't-
that they
we don't wanna
would.
do anything that's
Yeah,
incriminating.
that could possibly be misconstrued.
Hey, we could, but, we can unlock it, but I don't know if that would be an issue, you know? I think I'm gonna just, only the media, no one else, okay? How about that?
Sure.
Are y'all okay with that?
Well, yeah,
I
we
think
need
that's-
media in here. We absolutely do.
The point was to get the message out, so.
Yeah, I mean, speak on speaker.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
We
leave
can
it
do
on
that.
speaker.
So she's, I think she's just saying that they don't want to really sort of, they're a little wary about blocking it because then, like, you might have ramifications or something. So, but they are, maybe one way to sort of approach it, just have media come in, maybe that's a little less, I don't know. Because I think they've already left, like, they're on, yeah. Is Kathy the one who spoke at the beginning? No, she's one of the organizers.
Why don't we let them in?
She's saying media specifically, yeah. I mean, I think that she's looking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just had to confer for a minute to see what everybody did.
We needed to confer and see what we thought. We're gonna let you in and we're gonna lock the door back. And you're taking your own risk, okay?
Only media.
Only media.
Yeah.
Hold your papers up in front of you.
Alright, it's a party now.
Okay.
We want the cool off.
Well, we don't want to, aggravate. Yeah, but we have attempted for months. You want me to wait?
You can go ahead. I can just grab something.
We've attempted for
I want to ask you nicely one more time to step out of the building. This is private property, privately owned. This is not public space. No one who is in this room right now is to be here. If you want to carry out your demonstrations, you can do that on public property outside. Please, everyone, if you would, please honor this request. The police will be here shortly to do this. And the police have many other things to do besides deal with this right now. Please, step outside and let's close this office.
Have we heard from Brett? Have you given him our message?
That's not relevant to you leaving. Just,
It's a legitimate question.
what's not legitimate is being in someone else's space. You're now, you're not welcome because you've had your say. I've asked you to leave. This is private property, and I'm asking you to please comply with and do your demonstration in the public domain, not in private space.
We had most of us out there.
Now, somebody stole a kid. We're not just gonna jump up in the rage.
We see you outside, Kathy?
No, I'm not going to.
You're not leaving?
I imagine they'll be here soon.
It's nice for a lot.
Let us know if you hear from them. This is from a constituent. He just kicked this out.
So, just leave it laying there.
It's
It's got his names on it.
I call that a mantrum.
a constituent left that. That's crazy.
What's your name?
No, it doesn't have my name on it. It has another name on it. Somebody
Just leave it laying
that was
there.
outside,
He showed
dropped
the
it off.
Just leave it laying there.
so, but,
Well, yeah, I mean, main thing is,
I'm gonna put you on speaker. I'm putting you on speakerphone so they can hear it.
Sure, yeah. So the media wants to interview you. Can we do it this way?
Yes?
All right, cool. I don't know if you all want to give this level of audio quality. It's turned all the way up.
Let me ask you, do y'all have a copy of the statement?
I would guess. Yeah.
There was someone out there giving them out. So you should have a copy of our statement.
We did.
Okay.
So I think what's your game plan here? Apparently the police have been called. Are you staying until they arrive?
Yes, we are.
Do you anticipate being arrested?
I don't expect to be because we will cooperate with the police.
You're not gonna cooperate with Representative Guthrie's office right now.
We have tried for 5 months to get to talk to Representative Guthrie. We've offered to hold a town hall, make the arrangements, pay for the venue, let him set the date. We've been here, probably this is our 6th or 7th time to protest at his office. We have sent all kinds of communications, email, phone calls, and they absolutely refuse to answer us. You saw how they treated the media.
Can I say something?
What's your last name?
Severns, Severns.
Kathy with the C or a K?
C.
Yeah. And C-A-T-H-Y?
Yes.
Cool beans, I think that's everything, guys.
Do you think,
Oh, never mind.
would you be okay with letting us in, opening the door just long enough for me to snap a picture?
Yes, I think so. Look, I'm gonna let somebody
A
else.
picture through the glass.
I'm gonna.
The last one, we already opened
I
it.
think-
We saw that.
That's a direct. Yeah.
Okay, I think that the door will be open soon. I imagine, but I have somebody else that wants to make a statement. Okay, I'm handing it to Michael Gramling.
Hello,
Michael, could you spell your last name?
Gramling, Gramling. Yeah, I just
Are you a
wanted to,
member of
I'm sorry?
Are you a member of SOKY Indivisible?
Yes, I am.
Common spaces like this, and we live in secret.
So I wanted to
What's the
say,
statement that you
hello?
They just want to know what you want to get. They're ready for your statement.
All right, yeah. Well, you know, one of the most evil, horrific things anyone could ever do is steal somebody's child. It destroys
I'm
families.
sorry, man.
You're cutting out.
You're cutting out, I'm sorry.
Let me try. Is this better?
Yeah, actually, I would.
Okay. Stealing people's children destroys families. It's hateful. It's evil. I wish that Guthrie knew that. I'm sorry that we have to point that out to him. But our choice is to just say, okay, glad it's not our kid, or our choice is to stay here and see what happens. That's what we're going to do. Thanks.
Here. Okay, I got it back. You know, somebody just pointed out to me that if you could come in here, you would see there is a U.S. flag and a state of Kentucky flag. And, you know,
You're
there.
cutting out. Sorry,
Make sure.
I'm going to take it off speaker. Okay, okay. Can you hear me better now?
Is that Kentucky flag?
Okay. There is a United. Hold these up. There's
This
a
is
United
very
States
divided we
flag.
fall.
There's a Kentucky flag right in front of his door. And he's saying this is private, private property. But how many private areas have that? It kind of appears to be a federal office, that we would have access to. And so far, in all of this time that we've been trying to talk to them, we have not been allowed inside his office. This foyer's as far as we've gotten. Y'all come to the door. I'm asking the others to too. I see someone walking up that dropped off a card. She's in a Free Ernesto shirt carrying a sign that says prison. her card was kicked out by Mark Lord. We had slipped it under the door and he kicked it out. Did you hear that?
Hello, how are y'all?
Hi.
So we've talked to Mark Lord, who's in
Yes.
charge, he's Congressman.
I'm Captain.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wiles. They want you to leave,
Okay.
and so if you all would be so kind enough to do that. They also want you banned from the property.
I object to that part.
Well,
I'm happy to leave, but I don't want to be banned.
you don't have a choice on that part of it.
Okay.
So
I'll find out about that. I'll learn
Sure,
about
sure.
that.
So what we have to do, in order to ban you all, we're gonna have to get your information.
Okay.
Release you names from.
Is anyone free to leave? Are the others free to leave? And if I give you information?
The problem is, so I guess the private property, the person who's in charge of the private property can ban individuals, and so that's what
And
they.
who is that? Who's banning us?
Mark Lord is the
Owner of the building?
He's in charge of I guess the private part of this property.
Really? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not being smart aleck, but he acted like somebody else was not allowing it.
So he's the manager in charge. So that's
So Mark Lord is banning us from the property.
cool.
Okay. And explain to me what that means.
So I guess this is the common area. So any part that's Congressman Guthrie's, you are banned.
But this isn't his area.
Correct.
We're allowed here.
Sure. Yeah. That's
Okay.
Thank you so much for the clarification.
They will not let us in anyway.
Okay.
For 5 months we've tried.
Yeah, that's
You
very,
can see we're very
thank you.
reasonable.
Sure. Oh,
We're not
I
troublemakers
appreciate
at
that very
all.
much.
And we will cooperate with you completely.
So, but just so I'm clear, this area, and I don't
The
know.
foyer, we can come in,
You can
right?
come in, and I appreciate
Just
you
not inside
leaving
that
this
office.
today, because this is not, I guess this is a common area for the building.
Mhm.
So anything beyond that threshold is considered
Not
private
a
property,
problem.
and I don't know if you all have been in there or not.
No.
No, never set foot.
Honestly, we haven't.
No, no one has set foot in there.
Okay.
So if you have business in the dentist or upstairs, no problem, but you can't go in there,
Okay.
okay?
No different
No
there.
issue?
And for how long is that?
Typically for us, it's 2 years. Now,
Okay.
it's a little bit of a weird circumstance today. Normally it'd be city police coming out
Trouble
here.
crowd to get ready.
We understand, and that's
We're
one
kind of
reason we
covering
want
things
to.
for them. So what we will do is we'll send them a copy of
Yes.
this ban, so
Okay.
they're aware.
Okay.
But typically it's 2 years. Now it's up to the owner of or the renter or whatever, the person in charge.
Tell the
They
guy
have,
to
so,
ready to cut loose when
let's
we
say
walk
that
out.
2 weeks from now, they say, hey, you know what, we worked it out. They're free to come here anytime they want to.
That would be
Then
nice,
we would
yeah.
rescind, that side. But basically, it's just.
We
Yeah,
have
now.
never caused a problem.
Okay,
You
no,
can
it's,
see our protests are out on the street. We do.
right. And that's no problem. I mean, they can be there. I think it's just, I didn't realize you all had not even been in there. So
No.
it's all good. It's all
No.
good. Okay.
So
Yeah.
he came out here and he would not let us talk. He talked over us, So, we have it on video if you want to see what we've
Oh,
done.
it's-
It's
yeah.
all.
No, there's no
perfectly-
problem. There's no problem at all.
off whatever you.
Yeah. And
Yes.
we will leave now unless you have something else for us.
So what I need to do, and I don't know any of you all, but in order to ban you, I have to identify you.
Okay.
So
I
if you-
did not bring in an
That's
identification,
fine.
but I can get
Okay,
it.
we're gonna take your name.
Okay.
Does anybody have any IDs for that?
Did anybody bring in an ID? I forgot to put mine in my phone.
Yeah, you're fine, you're fine. What's your name?
My name's Kathy with a C. Severns, S-E-V-E-R-N-S.
S-E-V,
No, V, Victor,
S-E-V,
E-R-N-S. We could misspell it and then.
and then just each birthday.
8/20/54.
So I retired from city police about 7 years ago. Yeah, I recognize you. Old Fire Department? I recognize you.
Brandon?
So I retired from there in 2018. So Sheriff Hightower and I met each other back when I was 19 years old, so we've been buddies ever since. And so he got this crazy idea to run for sheriff, and so it was too good of an opportunity to kind of come on.
What's your name?
You want me to just write it for you? It's kind of long.
This part down here, one of his constituents came in, had given it to me, and I slipped it under the door. Mark Wood told me to put it out. I don't know if I should put it back under there. I'm not trying to be, but it's a note from a constituent.
I would say just leave it there, and they probably, until everything's calm, they're not gonna.
Yeah. Well, it's finished, Tom. This is the whole.
Oh, no, that's perfect. This is no problem at all.
1996. Said 12/19/96.
Yes.
Mary. I think they can be out there right now. There's no business.
U-E-R. The manager of
7/16/53. If we need to, we'll move it back out, but.
What I would say, just because I know there's no problem beyond the sidewalks, all day long, is no problem.
Okay. Let us stay out here for just a few minutes, and then we'll move it back to the sidewalk.
That'd be wonderful, that'd be no problem at all. And you absolutely, this whole area is private property. The question mark is,
Hey,
who's in charge of it? And so I don't want you all to run into a problem with us having to come back and anyway. So I know the sidewalks will be banned. There'll be absolutely no issue.
It's hard for me, and this is separate from this, but you know, if it's a U.S. representative or senator's office, we should have to, would you be able to?
I was actually going to inquire after that. I was like, how is it possible to be banned from a congressman's office?
You have been now.
It's kind of like the same logic applies to a grocery store or a dentist's office. If the person in charge of that facility says this person is not welcome here, for somebody like me, that's all I have to hear.
Okay,
So
well.
I mean, as far as the bigger question mark, I can't answer that. And that's really.
Well, we're just trying to talk to Brett Guthrie and trying to get our message through, so that's all.
I truly appreciate your
And this is what, let me just give you this. This is what we asked for, so you know, that it wasn't like an unreasonable, crazy.
You know what? So in America, it can be completely unreasonable, and you can still have every right to.
And we appreciate it.
See also my 4-year-old and every list of demands they have.
One of the reasons we're leaving so quickly is because we just said.
Yes, and that's one of the things. Something I'm always concerned about. We're always going to be counter protesters. So that's good. I think this
16
always seems like when I have groups like this, there may be somebody who wants to just try to make the opposite look bad. So throwing a rock in the middle of a crowd. And then
We have
Our group
plans
is
and
trained.
contingencies in place.
Perfect. So if you do see somebody that's maybe not just call us.
We are absolutely
We'll probably leave a deputy just for that fact.
That's great.
But they're not gonna.
We're gonna spend a few minutes right here, and then we'll move back to the street. And we will leave here by 6. How about that? Okay? So, thank you. It was nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you too.
You take
Sergeant
care.
Young, do you have everything you need?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
All right, let us get our chairs. Some of us
Nice
are
to see you again,
opening
sir.
chairs. Do y'all know each other? Okay.
Back way back in the day, I was a brand new officer of city police, and so he was the fire chief. I was,
Well,
among the upper
You can
crust
probably
at
give
that
me
point.
some stories. So, we may have to get together later. I'm gonna unlock this door. I'm gonna unlock this door.
Okay. Yeah, that's something.
That was the my constituent.
That's one black thing.
And just go.
People united will not be divided. The people united will not be divided. The people united will not be divided. The people.
What took place in there? We went in about 4:25, and I rang the bell, the door thing, and they did not respond. But Mark Ward, a few minutes later, came outside. Mark Ward is the director of this office, and he came outside and he started talking to us. He said, you know that we're not going to do anything about Ernesto, and that. We're going to have to move back out to the street in a second. And Xavier here. It's shady in there. Okay, so he talked over us when we tried to ask questions and said, I've answered those things before. And when we asked if Representative Guthrie considered Ernesto a constituent, since he resides here legally, he would not answer that question, said I'm not going to get into that.
I'm shocked.
He said anytime someone is involved in a judicial process, they don't get involved, which is not true. That's part of constituent services when it's a case like this. Ernesto was illegally arrested. He's not the one that's illegal. Okay, and then he said that Brett Guthrie's role is oversight of the federal agencies.
He doesn't do a good job.
What about ICE? They have kidnapped one of our children, and they have not let him get a bond hearing. So we have a problem with that. He asked us to leave, and we said we're waiting to hear from Brett. We asked him to call or contact Greg Guthrie, who is probably in town. He's on recess and expecting a new grandbaby. Probably in town. He would not, I don't believe he even called, but he would not respond to us in any way. And there were several, he came out a couple of times, but would not respond. He asked us to leave, he locked the door, said they were closing. He said he was calling the police department. We understand that the police department has a funeral today for one of their own, and we respect that. And when the sheriff's department came, they were taking their calls. We talked to the sheriff's department, and we respectfully left. But I want to say that this isn't the end. That we will continue to escalate to get Brett Guthrie to respond to us. We've had 0 response. That's crazy. Now here is the real crowning point, and I would like for the people that were in there to come stand around me, please. I want you to see who I'm talking about when I tell you this. Okay, are we all here? This fine group of Bowling Green and Owensboro citizens, all constituents of Brett Guthrie, have been banned from his office.
Good job!
Most of us have been banned from better places. However, the ban is from his office only. We can't cross the threshold. Has anybody here been able to cross the threshold of the office up to this point?
I have.
I have not. And so.
He wants to, it smells too bad.
The young lady that was working in there let me right in. I had a 7-minute conversation with her. This was back in April, probably.
Well, you're one of the few because most of us have not been able to enter the office. When we ring the bell, and we have respectfully sent 2 at a time, they send Mark Lord out, and he stands with a very uninterested, and his body language is that he's disgusted with us. He will not. He doesn't take notes. He'll hand us a piece of paper, and he offered us one today. To write it down. Write down our concerns.
So it goes in the trash.
And another thing that happened, one of our people here today brought me a note and slipped it under the door that she wanted to deliver to Representative Guthrie. And it was a card in an envelope. And so I just slipped it under the door because, that's the only way you can get it in there anyway. We had given him this through the door. When Mark Lord came out the last time, when he was going back into the office, he saw it on the floor and he kicked it out into the foyer. You have to hold it and hold the button in.
I'm the person that wrote him a personal note.
Hold it close and hold the button in.
It was me, I did it. My car got I will mail it to his personal home because I know where he lives.
Way to go, Gail!
Okay, so we have made this move, and we will continue to try to get our message through to Representative Guthrie. We feel that he does have a role in bringing Ernesto home. We feel he does have that he does have the responsibility of making a public statement in support of Ernesto. We also feel he has the responsibility to intervene in order to bring Ernesto home. So that was what we were asking for, and as in everything else we've asked for, we were ignored. At this point, we're going to move back out to the street because it is private property, and we're going to cooperate with what we've been asked to do, and we will continue out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't want to say anything? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Thank you, Brett Guthrie, for watching my live stream and look at all these people who are out here demanding you do something for Ernesto.
The person who told me that the marriage actually happened was SOKY.
That's what's important. They're going to get it. Oh, it is.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Hey, it's good to see you in person. I was just like, I have to say
I know
hi.
there were so many people last
because
weekend.
I got you from inside though on the live, like leading the crowd up front, and I was like, yes, we did.
I do this from here to Louisville, man.
And
Like,
he goes,
yeah.
we need your energy in the crowd. Like I messaged Caitlin and Ayla, and I was like, I was like, we need all these people here.
Yeah.
And the sit-in part had to be a little quiet.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't know if you've heard of them, but there's a group out of Louisville that I work with called the Human Rights Umbrella Coalition.
Well, I will look for them. Like,
I don't think they have
can't
Facebook,
interrupt
but they
that,
have TikTok.
It goes, I have the TikTok, but I am also 36 and say the TikTok.
Yeah.
So
I'll be 31 next month.
Yeah,
you know,
so 30 crew. But I have to get better at it. Honestly, I'm just gonna have my 11-year-old just be like, give me the quick rundown, let's go. So. And it goes, I like to follow anything I can in this nearby area because you never know what kind of resources are going to be needed. It's like, even if it has nothing to do with me, if I hear, hey, I've got this problem, I know a very specific.
You're with BG for Palestine.
Yes.
Okay,
So I goes,
Al was telling me about you.
He goes, oh, well, thank you. He goes, that's primarily who I'm with. But it's all linked. It's literally all of it.
Oppression is connected.
And that's it. This is kidnapping. There's kidnapping in Palestine. Ernesto's basically a hostage. Let's call it for what it is.
What it is.
10,000 Palestinian hostages. Like this, this is the same. So I just hope he's home soon because, I got 4 kids and.
He's supposed to have a hearing. What is it? Monday? Is
Monday.
that what they said?
It is Monday, and that's what is it? A 2-part thing? So
I think so.
And then the bond hearing,
But,
like anyway.
You know, if the community keeps putting on pressure, hopefully we can.
Brett Guthrie was on Dakota was posting live, and Brett Guthrie was watching Dakota's live.
That is hilarious.
That's
hilarious.
So yeah, he was watching. I tagged him in mine, but he didn't. But apparently he went looking and found Dakota.
But Brett Guthrie's not going to bend to anybody's will except for his daddy Trump.
That one.
I've actually have been inside that office before.
Really?
Yes.
So I never have, and now I'm banned. So I guess I'll just have to dream forever.
He has a MAGA hat on the shelf.
those ranks one day.
Because it's really easy. You go sit in the foyer.
I'm surprised I haven't been. I've been in there multiple times. They know my face and my name in there.
Just sit down and enjoy some floor time, and they're going to get real upset.
If I'd went in there, I guarantee you Mark Lord would have been like, hey, Megan, how are